hello, EKN Nation. Welcome to another edition of our Face2Face, a primetime show here at 8 in the evening on at least Eastern time. Here on Tuesday, what is it, September the 19th right now. Rob Howden alongside David Cole. Make sure I point in the right direction. Dave, we're coming off a great weekend at Castle Motorsports Park for the Race Road Tax US Trophy Final. That was a fantastic weekend of competition. Great numbers there. Take that event, times it by 4 plus for the entries for the one we're talking about today. This is a big show. This is the Face2Face. You guys still have the outlap coming, the actual preview podcast next week. But we're just over a week away from getting rolling for the Cup Karts North America Grand National 7. This is kind of dominated the four-cycle headlines for the last month and a half. Numbers breed numbers breed numbers. This race is going to be massive back at Castle Motorsports Park.
I think I should start by apologizing to Mr. Stephen Vermeer, thinking that this event we're going to take a couple years to get to a 500 mark. I was wrong. I apologize. So I wanted to start the show that way. This is it's completely insane, to be honest. I mean, just the amount of entries that we continue to check in every day. You wake up, we go to eKarting News, and then I go cupkarts.com. And I'm checking numbers. Yeah. You know, it's just, it's really insane. And it goes to show that the platform that they've been able to produce over these years and the actual event itself is just phenomenal. So just a lot to look forward to. And like you said, we're going to get more into the specifics in terms of drivers and classes and the outlap. This is kind of more the overall overview of the event itself.
Because somehow we were able to get one of the busiest guys in motorsports right now, Greg Jasperson from CKNA, to join us here tonight. We're going to bring him in here soon. Remember, this is going to be an interactive show. If you're on here and you have any questions you want to throw at Greg and haven't been able to get him because he's not answering the phone or not getting back to you, this is a perfect opportunity. We have him pinned down here on EK and YouTube and Facebook. So listen, David, the bottom line here is, we'll bring Greg in a second. This is like an if you build it, they will come kind of a thing, right? The concept early was, let's have a race just for Briggs 206. Let's make it the one big special race of the year. And then year-on-year growth, momentum, numbers breed numbers, people coming out. And it just, again, we all knew there was going to be more growth this year after a great run last year. I think it's probably blown everybody out of the water right now.
It certainly has. You look at 385 was the number we counted in terms of those that qualified. And then they surpassed it. And then now it's almost gone up by, I think it was 482 this morning. So almost 100 more than last year, which is, a third of it, almost a quarter over. It's just amazing the amount of growth. And we're kind of in it. And that's, I think the one thing Thursday is we're going to get more of an understanding. Where is everybody coming from? Where have they been? And that, because there's a lot of racers who have been looking at this race and just haven't been able to do it. There's a lot more regional racers that are now taking part in the divisional programs that CKNA have been hosting. Maybe it's just more people from the club level are looking at this and be like, this is my runoffs. This is the one race I got to do before we end the year.
And I'll save up the money to do it, right? I'm going to travel from California, from Texas, from Florida. This is that bucket list race every year, like a runoffs where you run your regional year long, and then you go to that one big race. It's you go back to some of the big ICAF Grand Nationals back in the day when it was 1 week during the summer where everybody came to wherever it was, whatever region it was you were coming to. This has become that deal for Briggs 206 racers. And the cool thing is there are other races have been Spring Nationals, big numbers as well, right? All the programs they have right now, all the divisionals that they have that they've built up that are growing, and that the divisionals build it too, right? I think as well, David.
Yeah, that's where I was talking with a little bit of growth there. So you're getting drivers that are moving from the club level to the divisionals that they have. And they experience Cup Karts for the first time, maybe this year, especially with the new Northeast program, the expansion up in the Canada division. Obviously, South went all the way to Biloxi, Mississippi. So it's spanning East Coast almost into Texas, just a little bit further away from Texas. It's reaching a lot more people in 2023. So that's where I think we're seeing a lot of numbers. But I really think it's just, and you got a lot of national names that race 2-cycle racing side as well too. It's just a lot. Yeah, exactly. And you got a lot of Kiwis coming.
New Zealand.
We keep banging on Scott Skitchy Barnes to be part of this event. We're trying to get Bermuda as part of it. We've had a bunch of Bermuda drivers come and race here, but we need the headliner, Scott Sketchy Barnes, to come and do this race because he's too chicken to come lose a bet to me. But yeah, I mean, Canada, New Zealand, USA. There are probably going to be some drivers from Mexico, possibly. Who knows what we're getting? We haven't really broken down the number of countries. I know Mr. Warren's probably watching the show, and he can give us all the facts and figures from Race Select. But we'll dive into that probably in our outlet.
Well, let's get to the man of the hour. Let's bring in Greg Jasperson from Cup Karts North America here. We've talked to him many times, year on year. We've known Greg for a couple of decades now, and great. Greg Jasperson, first off, thank you for joining us, taking some time out of a Tuesday night. I know that we're a week away. You guys will be trackside pretty soon. But first off, just thank you so much for taking the time to join us.
No, I appreciate you guys having it. I'm sorry I couldn't do it sooner. Just been running around a little bit, trying to get stuff put together for the race.
Can we just ask you straight up your thoughts on this landslide, if you will, onslaught of so many entries coming in?
I mean, I think you guys hit it right on the head. We all owe Steve an apology. Year two, he told me we would get this to 500. And I kind of chuckled and I was like, there's just no way. I was like, not only is there not enough racers, but there's not enough time in a weekend. There's not, just physically impossible. And, we keep apparently pushing that boundary. And, we can obviously handle 500 in this format. We can actually go a little bit beyond that with the way that we set everything up. So it'd be great to hit that number this year, but a number is just a number. I mean, what we're worried about is putting on a great event. And I think based on the number of racers we have, I think we're going to be able to do that.
So where do we go from here, Dave? Where do you want to start? Is the first, again, if you have any questions for Greg, throw it out there. Do we start with, hey, when was the discussion? When did you guys start the discussion of, hey, do we get to this side? Because let's talk about the fact you guys cap the classes. I think that was obviously a big thing. That was a big move for you guys. How are we going to keep growing this, but then having the place to stretch out from, right? So I love the idea. Was it 3 or 4 classes that you guys decided to cap?
I think we're at 4 is what we ended up with.
4 capped or 4 open?
Hold on here. My brain's a little fried.
Well, you guys first said 3.
Yeah,
first said
correct.
3.
So, yep. We first said 3, and then we adjusted it to 4. And basically, okay. I'll fully admit that was a mistake on me. One of my Excel formulas for time skipped an hour, and after we put the announcement out there and I was doing something else, I kind of caught it out of the corner of my eye and realized we missed an entire hour one day. So that adjustment was able to get us back up to 4. So but it's 4 classes that we're doing the 106 entries on.
So again, that's for me, that's the crazy part. Just those 4 classes, if you get them all to the cap, you're looking at 424 right there, just with those 4 classes. Whether or not we're going to hit those caps, all 4 classes, it doesn't matter. Is that something you guys have set? Let's say was that a discussion from last year? Hey man, the growth is good. We look really good this year. We closed on 400. Were you guys talking about options? And when did you start talking about options if you had to do that?
Class caps has been a conversation between Steve and myself for probably 5 years now.
Oh, wow. Okay.
This is something that we have tried our absolute hardest not to have to do. If for no other reason, we don't want to ever think we left something on the table and weren't able to put as big of an event on as possible. But as the reality sets in of trying to make sure that we can do the event properly and give everybody what, the quality event they deserve, we came to realize pretty quickly here that what we were looking at this year, we were going to have to make an adjustment. So, and unfortunately, the downside to running this event this time of year that we do is you can't go much past 6 o'clock at Newcastle.
That's the key. Yeah.
So, there's obviously options there, which everybody can imagine what we could do with that. So, there's definitely options on the table for the future for what we can do to try to mitigate this. If we can get 150 people to enter in one class, we'll come up with a format to make it work, but we got to make sure we can do it properly. And that's we need to get ahead of that next year to make sure we can, if we're able to continue growing.
Well, class structure is part of that because this year you split sportsmen up into essentially 2 divisions. You got cadet and sportsman. Let's just kind of quick talk about the cadet program because that was part of the 2023 season. What's been the feedback from those racers and the parents and the families that are involved in sportsman cadet? Has it been a good success, a right move in the right direction for the program?
Yeah, I think the general consensus is it was the right thing to do. There were a couple folks that, I don't want to say got caught out by it, but they were probably right on the edge of being able to go one way or the other, and they kind of felt like they were either being forced to move up early or getting held back, one or the other. And you can never make everybody happy. Right. But the racing's been a lot better. The racing's been a lot safer, and we're able to focus more on the kids, on the youth. It gives, when I'm able to go to the track, it gives me the time to actually go and talk to some of the drivers. If I see something, just say, hey, try to coach them up a little bit. Because, at the end of the day, we are trying to help these kids become better race car drivers. And the more time we can spend with them, the better.
The whole 8 to 13 was such a big window for that sportsman category. You're talking about a kid that could be 6 years of racing that class, like 5 years racing that class, with somebody who's brand new at 8 years of age. I like that call because it just, as long as the numbers can support it, it's going to be really good. The overall experience will be better.
Yeah, and divisionally, it can get tough a little bit sometimes. Some of the divisions, you don't have as much support for one or the other. And like in Canada, we didn't even, it's a slightly different class structure up there just with what they already have existing. So we weren't able to completely copy paste everything up there. But like I said, at the end of the day, it definitely made for safer racing. I think the kids became better drivers as well because there were just more of them concentrated around the similar skill groups. So they were able to learn more.
Yeah, and you look at the numbers that are entered for those programs, you're at 27 for cadet and 35 for sportsmen. So technically, all of them are going to race main events on Sunday. So that's kind of a good thing. We don't even have to run an LCQ for those categories as of right now.
Oh, trust me, if we can avoid having to tell some kids that they're not able to, race in the feature at their biggest race of the year, I'm all for it.
Right.
Let's have a look at the schedule right now. That's obviously one of the things that's going to be key when you make a move like this and you start having big numbers come in. What does the schedule look like? How are we going to approach things this year?
So, it's actually going to be relatively simple and similar to last year. Thursday's going to be 4 rounds of practice. It's going to be a structured practice. Obviously, the folks at Newcastle really help us out with that. I don't bring in all of my staff on Thursday, but I bring in a fair amount of them to help officiate because we do officiate practice just like any other race where if there's excessive contact, anything crazy going out on track, you can earn yourself a penalty on Thursday practice for the rest of the weekend. So we do expect everybody to, behave during that. But we'll have 4 rounds of practice on Thursday. Then Friday, we just do a final warm-up. A lot of people like to call that happy hour, even though that's a phrase or term that we've never used. But we used that practice session to kind of set up a qualifying grid. We did go through and split. We have, working on the fly here. We've got...
I love this. This is perfect. We pause our face-to-face broadcast for this quick commercial break. Stay tuned for more here on the EKN Radio Network. Ready to step up your game? Joining the Rawlison Performance Group is the obvious choice to take your racing to the next level. Industry-leading driver development is provided by our staff of multi-time national champions, Super Nationals winners, and Team USA members. And at the same time, RPG continues to be a national-level powerhouse race team. Our goal is to help you raise your game and win races. We work with all age groups and are focused on developing those cadet and junior drivers who are ready to take the next step in their racing program. Rawlison Performance Group has set a new standard with our in-house engine program, AVP Engines, headed by Alex Vincent. AVP has become the benchmark in IAME competition. We have the largest OTK inventory that follows our race team, providing trackside parts at all the major events in North America. RPG also offers multilingual support with French, Spanish, and Portuguese-speaking staff. If you want to fight for championships or want to improve your skills and your chances to win, the answer is to call RPG at 503-260-4514. The Rawlison Performance Group. We race to win. For over 20 years, Greg Bell has been building race-winning power for kart racers. One need only look at his team, Leading Edge Motorsports. He's always built engines for his team, and the results have been wins at the biggest races in America, the SCUSA Super Nationals and the Rock Vegas events. The name on this program? Mega Power. This year alone, Bell and Danny Formel teamed up to sweep the Rock Shifter class on the Florida Winter Tour, all on a Mega Power engine. If If you want to win shifter kart races, it's time to put mega power on your kart. Mega Power specializes in gearbox engines, such as the TMKZ, Rock Shifter, and IME Shifter, but with almost 3 decades of engine building experience, Bell develops winning motors for X30 and Mini Swift and everything in between. The combination of Greg Bell's engine building skills and his chassis tuning knowledge is a potent mixture. Greg's helped catapult many drivers to wins over the years, including Mercedes F1 star George Russell, who won the Supernats 14 in 2011 with Leading Edge Motorsports. Increase your odds of winning at this year's Rock Vegas or Supernational events or throughout 2023 by calling Greg Bell today at 209-747-2613 to put mega power in your corner. Welcome back to Face2Face on the EKN Radio Network. While you work, I was going to bring in a couple of shout outs here. Alex Williams says best series in the country. Talking about the sportsman class, Megan Old says split made a lot to a lot of people. Jason Danetti loved that decision.
Megan can't count; she's staff.
That's true. I will hide that. But yeah, Noah Stark, best decision ever. So I wanted to throw that out there. Obviously, great stuff. Let's go back to the schedule.
Yeah, so even though we've only got 9 classes, we have 19 qualifying flights. So what that means is that we split everybody up. We're trying to minimize no more than 30 karts on track at a time for qualifying. Newcastle's big, but it's not big enough to run 80 karts at a time for a qualifying scenario. So truly Saturday, half the day is going to be qualifying. So it's going to be a warm-up, whole bunch of qualifying, and then we will actually complete the entire first round of racing this year on Friday.
Okay.
Then Saturday is probably our, even though it's going to have the most racing in it, it'll probably be the most laid back day just because it's got the least amount of heats other than obviously Sunday. But, warm up again in the morning and then 2 rounds of heats. Every group will run twice. Sunday, we're going to start right away in the morning with LCQs. So any of the drivers who did not make the cut, and those cuts will get announced late on Saturday. So people have to watch our Facebook and our social media for it. But we'll get all those lineups posted. If you didn't make the cut, you're going to show up at 8 a.m. for a warm up, and then everyone's going to do a 10-lap LCQ. We'll take the top, don't know how many yet, depending on the numbers, drivers out of the LCQs, and they'll get dumped right back into the main program. Warm-ups for the main program will start at 10 a.m., so those guys will get to sleep in for a little bit.
Yes.
And then, wait. You think you're making it?
We're not in the LCQ races.
If I'm in the senior heavy LCQ, I might as well just go to the race and not even do the warm-up. It'll be like Rock Island, right? It'll be like Rock Island.
That's so funny.
I was actually going to write on the bottom of my Yeti and take a couple drinks. I'm faster than David Cole and see if he caught it, but I barely got here in time. So
just so you know, there's lots of those Yetis out there.
But the features on Sunday right now, we're looking like we'll start give or take around 11:30. They're long features, just like last year, and we do a little bit of a run up in between each race, do some driver interviews, do an on-track lineup. So it's a little bit of a slower process. Hopefully we will be done racing on Sunday by 5:30, barring any incidents or anything that we have to adjust for.
And I'll say this, it's interesting. People will have 2 sides of the LCQ thing. It's, you don't make the main and you're disappointed you didn't make the main, but you got a chance to run a race after your heat race, right? So that LCQ is kind of your de facto main event. But it just lays that really cool thing for a major event that you do make the main, right? It's some people are going to go there hoping to make the main because the level of competition is so high. I know what I ran the WKA Dirt World Championships and I made the main, and I still have the bumper sticker because I was so happy that I made the main out of whatever 80 guys there was in the class. I think that's a really cool thing that people are going to push. I didn't make the main last year. I really want to make the main this year. I think that's a good dynamic, a good little extra addition to an event of this stature now.
Well, and that's one of those things I don't think sprint karting, has really ever had to experience, where pretty much every other form of racing does. Where they're at a big event at the end of the weekend, there's a cut that you have to make to be able to make the show. I know in a lot of the circle track stuff, that you live and die just by making the show. Mm-hmm. So not saying we want that to be the dynamic all the time, but you're right. I think it adds something,
for this one,
bit of a deal to make it.
Yeah, 100%. Do you want to talk? I guess we don't need. Okay, Dave, you go.
So yeah, you didn't say how many are going to transfer into the main events or how many are going to start the main events. Is that still a to be determined type scenario right now that you guys are working on?
Game time decision.
Yeah, yes and no. I mean, obviously I've got my plans, and Rick Folks and I work hand in hand on that stuff. And the reason we never put that in print is because, God forbid we have an odd situation, something changes at the track, we do need to be able to change on the fly. Obviously, our goal is going to be to put as many of the people out on the track as possible. I mean, there's nothing like telling Mike Adams that you ran a bigger race on his own track than he did. So, I mean, anytime we can do that, we're going to try to.
So you're starting 90.
I actually called him the day before we announced Cast Claps to get clarification on what the largest number of go-karts on that track ever was before, just to make sure I didn't want to roll those dice. But nah, I thought better of it.
The cut line for senior heavies right in front of where David Cole finishes the heat races.
Well, that could be possible, just so we have something to talk about for the next 9 or 11 months.
Yeah, but then I got to get it early and drag his butt into the track in the morning for that warm up.
What if I win the LCQ? Then you guys got to talk about me on the broadcast.
That's true. Yeah, we will have to. We will have to. Wow.
Not that I want to win the LCQ, but
the track itself is not really a discussion point because we're doing the same thing we did last year. What was there motivation behind that? Was it just a known quantity?
Yeah, I think the known quantity is the big thing. Especially, I always get nervous, and obviously we run a lot of races now. When we started this, I refused to hold an event at a track I hadn't driven before. Obviously, that's become a little bit harder to do. Been to Newcastle plenty of times, but the couple other layouts that I have not personally driven, nor have I seen a big event ran on. I actually did have another layout in mind for this year. I was not able to go down there and test it with enough time to make sure we had all the pieces in place. So that's going to be in my pocket for next year. I've already talked to Mike. We're going to work on a weekend that I can get down there and not necessarily have the track to myself, but at least, probably actually have a couple people out there so I can race with them.
I mean, there's 2 test drivers
right here.
But yeah, this has been a great track. We've ran, I think, 3 different track layouts for the Grand so far. This has been the most popular. This one has provided excellent racing. And this one gives us a few little extra things we can do too, as far as with video coverage, staffing, things like that. This was the one that we felt the most comfortable with.
And logistics as well too, because as the grid area is probably one of the hardest areas to kind of navigate because there's just so many people getting up there and getting ready for it. If you were to run reverse, you'd have to lay out a whole different scenario. And so I think logistically, with the amount of numbers that are coming this year compared to last year, I think it works to go with what you guys have already done and known.
Yeah, I mean, I'd never say never to much of anything these days, but I can't imagine us trying to run this event at Newcastle backwards. I've not ran a race there backwards myself, but just from what I have seen, I think at this size, I just think it'd be very difficult.
Again, folks, Greg Jasperson joining us here from CKNA. If you have any questions regarding the Grand Nationals coming up next week, feel free to throw them on the comments, and we'll bring those to the notice of Greg. Do we take the time right now maybe to look a little bit about how things went CKNA-wise this year? Obviously, Greg, the growth, the amount of interest in this event, you have to go back and look at the continuing growth and stability and extension of your divisional programs, right? You've got the South and the North, which you've had for many, many, many years. You've got the Canadian program really rocking, so I'm sure there's going to be a big Canadian contingent coming down. Then, of course, you guys rolled into the Northeast this year as well. So overall, let's just look back at those divisional programs. Are you pretty happy with the way everything went this year?
Yeah, I am. And it was kind of a weird deal. I was trying to pull it up real quick, so I'm sorry I keep looking off to the side here. We encountered a unique thing we've never encountered before, but the numbers got better as the year went on.
All right.
Never had that happen before.
Okay.
I was actually, concerned might be strong, but I was trying to figure it out. It was like, wow, our numbers are really down. Obviously there's economic issues, cost of gas, stuff like that.
Well, especially I think in the Northeast, because you guys said, I think the Pittsburgh event was the biggest one of the year. I think maybe it was the last one, and not a lot of people had been there in 4-cycle racing in a long time. I think that might have possibly helped. And Kershaw, people haven't gone to a lot. And of course, Goodwood, that's like the mecca of Ontario karting, right?
Yep. And then you got Whiteland. We were probably one of the first big events at Whiteland since they did the redesign at the facility, which came out phenomenally.
It looks so good there. Yeah.
So some of it's a little bit of dumb luck, maybe, but But yeah, no, divisionally it was great. I mean, Northeast exceeded my expectations, to be honest with you. We get it all the time. I get 5 emails a week about why don't you run a division here? Why don't you run a division here? And they were right.
Good.
So yeah, Northeast has been great. We've got a lot of good contacts out there with people in that community, in that area, that are going to help us continue that growth. Obviously, with Tony, Tim Hannon, we had some really, really strong help in making that happen, because if we would have had to run that whole deal with our existing staff, we could have not done it. It's no secret I don't go to every race anymore because I just can't. I have a real full-time job that I have to do. So having these people in place that were able to manage the event and keep up the standards and the integrity that we've tried to strive for was great. So yeah, no, I couldn't be happier with the way the divisions worked out this year.
You gonna drop that in, Dave, or you want me to drop that in?
Yeah, I got it. Yeah.
Is there going to be a CKNA West from Alex Williams?
No.
Ever?
As I've probably said 5 times already, I will never say never to very many things. I can tell you right now, it's not happening next year. Okay. So there's no plans on the table right now for us to add another division next year. What we do to grow and improve the event or the series next year is going to be more about what we can do for the racers at the event. Yeah,
well, again, grow, stabilize, improve, grow, right? You can take some time, because obviously you grew into Canada with Gerald Casey and the crew. You grow with Tim Hannon and the crew in the Northeast. Now it's the time to really kind of hunker down and stabilize, right?
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, there's a lot of opportunities we have to do things not only better on our end, but do more for our racers that come to the events, both at the track and away. And I think, my personal opinion, one of the things we've probably let slip a little bit is some of the, driver profiles and, some of that stuff that we just started getting back to this year that's been really well received. So, I think next year we really want to focus more on, what we can do to help these drivers get sponsors, what we can help these drivers do to grow in their own racing careers, as well as have them have more fun at the track. Do some fun cookouts and things like that. That unfortunately takes some time to plan. That might take us away from adding some events next year, but that's okay. We want to make sure that everyone who's come to the races has a good time.
Can we lock anything in? Spring Nationals again next year. What's the plans for the winter? Are those things that we have to kind of table till after the Grands?
Yeah, let's table.
Please, Rob.
I almost told you not to ask me that before we went on, but I knew, I knew you wouldn't listen to me, so
I'll ask. But it's a neat listen. There's not a soul out there that's not going to understand if you say, "Hey, I'm going to take a month off after the Grands, and then we'll discuss."
So I think I've said that every year, and it's never happened.
Yeah,
except the one year my wife made me go on vacation afterwards. No, we I'd say about half the schedule's established right now. It's all pretty well penciled in. There's a couple discussions on we're trying to space things out a little bit more for people.
Okay.
Unintentionally, but when you have 3 divisions, not only for our staff but for some of the racers that actually try to race a lot of the divisions, we had 3 races in a row sometimes. And then now my tech staff is also getting hired by other series or other one-off events where they're going to work in those. So then they're on the road for sometimes even 5 weeks in a row. So trying to make sure we don't burn people out, not just the racers, but also our staff. So we're trying to take our time and make sure we get it right.
We pause our face-to-face broadcast for this quick commercial break. Stay tuned for more here on the EKN Radio Network. It all started in 1994 when former successful kart driver Albino Parolin decided to move his passion for karting from the track to his small workshop. That's when Parolin was born. Fast forward 20 years, and Parolin's passion for the sport led to the company rejoining international competitions as a factory team in WSK and CIK FIA races, with the aim of enhancing the research and development process, immediately achieving notable results around Europe, North America, and Asia, becoming the CIK FIA Asia Pacific KZ champion in the same year. Parolin USA is North America's source for Parolin products, and we run a factory team at all of the major Superkarts USA and Rock Cup USA events. The Parolin chassis lineup for 2021 includes the Invader Shifter, the Le Mans Tag single-speed chassis for junior and senior classes, and the 28mm mini kart for the cadet classes. Parolin has been winning races all over the world, and it's on top of the podium in the USA as well, with drivers like Kai Sorensen, Mateus Arjuela, and Alessandro De Tullio. Get on the chassis that's winning. Drive a Parolin. For more information, head to ParolinUSA.com. Acceleration Kart Racing is your first and only stop on the internet for karts, parts, and the safety gear you need to get you on the track. Visit shopakr.com for a great selection of karting equipment on a user-friendly website. Acceleration Kart Racing has aligned itself with many of the top manufacturers and distributors in the sport to ensure all the latest equipment is available to you, the racer. With over 20 years in business and customer support available 6 days a week, you can be confident about getting the right parts at the right price when you need them. Be sure to visit shopakr.com today or stop by their headquarters in Las Vegas. Make sure to follow Acceleration Kart Racing on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for the latest specials and new arrivals. Welcome back to Face2Face on the EKN Radio Network. Let's go back to the Grand Nationals again next weekend, number 7, which is great. Can we talk about where are we? Like last year was what? What do we numbers? What for awards, prizes, sponsors? Let's talk about the event, some of the cool factors of what's happening next weekend.
Yeah, so I mean, one of the things that we do every year at our divisionals or at our national is we do all the divisional awards. We've years past, other programs that have done big national with multi divisions has had an awards banquet that they made everybody go to, and we might have to do that someday. But at this point, we're still trying to make sure that we assume everybody's coming to Grand. So if we do it there, then they don't have to book extra flights, take an extra weekend off. So 4 divisions this year will be getting their awards at Grand Nationals. So we actually had to split it into 2 days. So we'll do 2 of the divisions on, I believe, Thursday night, and then 2 of the divisions on Friday night. So we're going to have a ton of prizes and awards that a lot of our sponsors kicked in for, that we're going to give away to, depending on the number of entries, top 3, top 5 in each class. And we're actually going to announce all those ahead of time. So when the supplemental rules come out, hopefully tomorrow night, there will actually be 2 pages in there that list out exactly who is getting recognized at the award ceremony. So if they're going to be there, they don't miss it. And then, we're going to try to give away, I think so far we've got 15,000 or so, give or take, dollars worth of door prizes secured, that are going to be just raffled off, for the top 5 in each class, at Grands. So, and I can tell you every year, the week of, the amount of stuff that shows up at the track that I didn't know was coming, because either I forgot that the sponsors promised, a lot of the time forgot stuff that I ordered. But we always have a pretty good prize spread. With this many racers, obviously I can't say everybody's going to win something, but we try to make sure we get prizes people want and try to give as many people away as we can. But at the same time, we have a limited amount of time to give it all away. So
let's talk about the sponsors that make this happen. The industry's really stepped up behind this for the last couple of years, really from the get-go, to be honest. Let's give you an opportunity to just kind of roll out the sponsors you want to talk about the people that make this race happen.
Yeah, I mean, we'd probably need 2 hours to cover all the sponsors. It sounds like a line. I really don't look at what other companies are sponsoring, what other series. I'd be shocked if there's another series that has notably more sponsors than we do. And some of them step up huge. Some of them are small companies that just step up where they can. But we want to be, we want all those people to be involved. So, I mean, obviously you got the obvious ones, Briggs and Stratton. They've been a part of us for years. Vega Tires is a huge sponsor. This is a tire that they helped develop for us, that helped us grow, because I think this tire has been a big part of what's made this series work. So we can't thank them enough. RLV's been around for, I think, since the first year. They've been the qualifying sponsor. Every year we do a little bit more and a little bit more with them. EK Chains has sponsored every division for 3 years now. So they've been the presenting sponsor for every division, which is huge. They give away, I think I got 4 cases of chain this year. Wow. Or something like that. I mean, I'd be shocked if there are too many people that didn't get a chain at one event if they came to multiple events, because we just give away a ton of the stuff. But that's all stuff racers need, and that's how we try to use our sponsorship dollars. but I can go through all of them. I mean, we got EK Chain, Max Torque, NSCW, Parenton Automotive, CKT, Coyote, CRG. We picked up a couple new sponsors that literally called up 4 Grand Nationals and said, hey, we love what you're doing. We see where it's going. We want to be a part of it. We want to help. CNR, which I believe is Invader Karts. They called me up. They wanted to jump in. And they've been racing Grands with us for years. They're great guys. Just I never even thought about going after them for a sponsor.
Full Nelson Racing. Yep.
It's just, that's not what I do. The sponsors usually come to us. So, Barron Racing Team, the Barron family's been racing karts for probably longer than any of us have been doing it. And, had a few really long, really interesting conversations with those guys. And they've got a lot of really interesting ideas and things. And they wanted to support and help too. MGM Chassis, of course, steps up every year to help us with the big races. Paul and April can't go to all the races, all the divisionals, but they really do step up and help me at the nationals. I mean, they're a big part of how Spring Nats even happens. They go, for Newcastle, I'll be there on Tuesday to start getting stuff prepped and everything. I can't do that every time for every event. So Paul and April actually, since they live in Charlotte, they take a couple days off of what they're doing and they go and start getting all the prep work done at Charlotte for me.
That is awesome.
And that's just one of those, when you're putting a big event on like that, that you need that help. So the cool thing with Canada too, we've got a lot of new companies that are coming out of Canada that are sponsoring us, that are stepping up, not only just to support the stuff in Canada, but, support us nationally as well. We have ISM Kartsport, Nonstop Lozier, KDM Racing, PSL, HM Propella, SM Motorsports, SH Karting, CF Karting, e-karting parts. And then blackcircles.ca, which is basically the Canadian Tire Rack.
Yep.
They joined us as another one of our really big companies. It's a non-karting company, and they're now the presenting sponsor for the Canadian division. So, we're now starting to attract some of these national non-karting, even to some extent non-motorsports related sponsors. Parts City Auto Parts. I mean, these are big national chains that see the value in not only what we're doing, but in our racers, because a lot of these companies realize racers are loyal customers. If a company supports their hobby, when it comes time to make a purchase, they're going to go there first.
That's it. So, how much sleep are you going to get between now and then? You're a week away.
I crawled into bed, no kidding, at 5:10 yesterday. Realized ordering some banners and some flags and stuff like that. Realized that my art cutoff was noon the next day, and I had to be at work at 9. So I was like, well, that's not going to happen. So, but that's, it's part of the game. I don't, people who've known me for a long time know I barely sleep anyways. And that was really only an hour past my normal bedtime anyways. So, I usually take a little power nap on the couch and then jump back on the computer and get some work done. So,
wow.
No. And you know what, I actually have to say too, we've had so much help getting this stuff done this year. The biggest time consuming part is getting, obviously you have your staff and stuff like that, but I've got Rick to help me with that and Megan to help me with that. The biggest part of this is getting all the prizes organized, making sure not only for the race itself, but this is our big divisional awards ceremony. That means a lot to me. These are people that have supported us throughout the years. They've supported our business to try to help them put on these events. So I try to put a lot of effort into it. This year for all the divisional prizes, every single item is customized. So every prize a person gets is going to have their name on it, their number on it, something. That takes a lot of effort to do. Thankfully, Cam Concepts, who's a company we all know, especially in the Rock Island communities, he stepped up huge. I don't think he's slept either. I've been texting each other at 2-3 in the morning, sending proofs and pictures back and forth.
Wow.
He's bringing he just texted me today. He had to go borrow a 20-foot trailer to get stuff loaded up into because he couldn't fit it all in his normal one. But even company, EVS, EVS does a lot of racing gear, more motocross stuff, but they have some really awesome gear bags, and we've given away their neck braces and stuff before. They've been wanting to sponsor us for years, and quite frankly, I keep dropping the ball on it. I just don't return the phone call when he's available, and then we get halfway through the season and we say we'll do it next year. I called him up in a little bit of a panic because wasn't able to get something I needed. They literally sent us 2 pallets of stuff within 48 hours so we could start getting the embroidery done.
I was just going to say, I need a gear bag, so I'm going to go on. I'm going to order one.
Yeah.
EVS. I'm going to go order one from EVS. 100%.
Yeah, no,
That's awesome.
the guys at EVS have been awesome to us. And that's and those are relationships that we've met through, the guys at EK Chain and Target Distributing, they're a distributor for EVS, and they kind of linked us up together and said, this is a good business relationship for both ends. So
we got a couple questions to have some fun with then. Here's the first one. Chris Carroll. How about optional neck brace for seniors at Grands?
Come on, Chris. This is what we're going to worry about? No. Okay. Super long story short, and I think Rob can probably, or maybe David.
Probably not.
I don't remember which.
I don't know.
So I have a habit of ending up on my head at races.
No.
There's probably, if Dave Mack's watching, he'll probably try to find a way to post the picture he keeps of me in his wallet with my.
I do remember that one. That's right. Yeah.
And I spent a lot of time at chiropractors and stuff like that afterwards. And I was told with no uncertain terms that I would have had permanent damage if I wouldn't have had that neck brace on. And that's just stuck with me. I've talked to plenty of doctors and physicians, everything over the years, and said, there's certain circumstances it's better one way, better than the other. I just prefer it, and it's my series. So that's what we're going to do.
You know what else helps your neck when you flip? The go-kart not being as heavy. What do we have to talk about to get the masters weight knocked down from
all weights? No, not just masters, all weights. We need to get with as many carts as are going to be there this year. I just got to step up. I got to do it, and I got to mark down all the people who have weight on their carts and find the median or find the average, because it's just Rock Island. We're there together. I know we didn't talk a lot of shop. We had a good time just as friends there. It was good. But walking up and down that grid for that, for the King of the Rock, everybody had 20 pounds on or more. And to run 390. And it's just kind of insane. I think we got the senior weights. I mean, maybe we could drop 10 pounds here or there, but I think 390 pounds for Briggs and Stratton karting is just insane. I think if we go through the actual data of it all, I think it's too high. So that's my speed.
It's tough. I can tell you, we do a weight study every year.
Yeah.
Yes, our series, Steve. He's watching.
He is, Noah. Yeah.
No, we do a weight study every year. And you can never make everybody happy.
Right.
Now, at a race like Grands, you could have 18 different weight divisions and have full fields in each one, and it would work.
Yeah.
We got to try to dial that into a divisional program. So finding a way to make sure that we can't include everybody. We got to try to include as many people as possible. I can tell you that there's plenty of guys that don't have lead on to run heavy. But at the same time, I can tell you that I've got guys that are running 20 extra pounds in a heavier class because they think their go-kart works better.
Wow.
So, I mean, it's one of those things where you're never going to make everybody happy.
There's a lot of crazy people in the sport. We have to admit that. My reasoning, I don't care about putting weight on. That's not a problem. I just look at it as a safety issue. And because a lot of times some of the drivers can't even lift their own carts. And if we're trying to move carts out of the way, that's becoming the biggest issue. And that's one of the things we noticed. I noticed at Rock Island, at least myself, but I've noticed it at other events as well too, that, a lot of these drivers are a little bit prima donna and won't touch their cart. So then they're all relies.
That's a whole other issue.
And that's a whole nother issue. I get it. But when you have one corner worker trying to lift up a cart and get it out of the way, it's just like it's a lead sled sometimes. And that's what overall on the sport, I think we need to look at that. So we just like to pick on you because you can take it.
This is a support Greg show.
Yes.
Not a beat on Greg show. We can do that later. That could be January.
Hey, I got to get ready for Grands. I'm probably have a line.
That's true. Let's thicken that skin up for you.
That's what I should hold a booth of lower weights now booth at Grands. We'll get everybody to sign up.
Otherwise.
Well, I think we should just call it the David Cole Complains booth.
There we go. I'm listening. Bring it on. I listen. I love it. That'll be the cooler next to where we're pitted at.
There you go.
We pause our face-to-face broadcast for this quick commercial break. Stay tuned for more here on the EKN Radio Network. Fast, fair, and fun. Ignite Karting offers you all of that at an affordable price. Ignite Karting utilizes the spec Margay Ignite K3 with a Briggs & Stratton 206 engine and the Hoosier R80 tire. Everyone in the junior, senior, and masters classes compete on the same Ignite K3 chassis, which puts all the emphasis squarely on driver development. Additionally, Ignite Karting is accessible at the local, regional, and national level. Special events for the 2023 season include the Ignite Majors, which begins with the annual trip to the Daytona International Speedway as part of the WKA Daytona Kart Week as part of both the sprint and road racing events. Those in the Midwest can enjoy the regionally based Ignite Challenge, which just finished up a record-setting season in 2022. Local club programs have also been established in other states all across the country, from Idaho to Texas, Nebraska to New York, with more tracks and clubs joining the Ignite Karting program. Be part of fast fun and great memories with Margay Racing at an Ignite track near you. All information on Ignite events and Ignite Kart packages, including dealers in your area, are available at ignitekarting.com. Get off the couch and out onto the track in 2023. Ignite Karting. Fuel your passion. Welcome back to Face2Face on the EKN Radio Network. So, Greg, let's wrap this thing up in a good way. And I always like this. You roll in, you say Tuesday. Tuesday, right?
Yeah, Tuesday afternoon, I believe.
Tell me what it feels like, because I've worked a number of Indianapolis 500s, and when you go there early, like at 4 or 5 in the morning, 6 in the morning, and people start coming in, you feel the buzz start coming up to 1 o'clock or to noon when the race gets ready to roll. What's it like for you rolling in on Tuesday and seeing the trailers start to come in and the feel of the excitement? Is it dread, or is it, man, this is going to be so cool? Or a bit of both?
Honestly, I don't, and maybe it's different for people. Maybe it's not. I'm not sure. It doesn't hit me until the event's done.
Until it's done.
Yeah. It's the second I get my feet on the ground, it's just my brain explodes with the millions of things. Yep. Blinders is the best way to put it. It's funny. My wife always complains that she sees me, everyone says how busy I am at Grant, and she's like, you're just standing there. You're just watching everything. I was like, oh, waiting for the next shoe to drop. But definitely last year, but even the last year before, there was a moment of relief that just hits you on Sunday after you got the awards done. You got everybody, for the most part, out of there, and you're sitting down with the staff, and all of a sudden it just hits you.
Yeah.
Then it's, oh my God, what did we just do? And then usually you two walk in about 20 minutes after that, maybe a few drinks in, and start bench racing what we're going to do to make next year better. And then my break is then over, and we start planning the next Grand Nationals.
Maybe, yeah. So Megan says Sunday night equals relief until David and Rob come in. And listen, we can't be the only people that are excited about it at the end and saying next year is going to be so much better. Even that's good.
Yeah, no, I mean, and honestly, we've got some awesome plans for next year that, quite frankly, I wanted to do this year, and just from time and energy and manpower, we just weren't able to do. I can commit to everybody that if the racers want to keep supporting this event, we can keep handling it, and we can keep growing it, and we can make this the greatest karting event there is.
Steve's on board. Yep.
He won't let me quit, so
I know. None of us are going to let you quit. I do want to bring this up real quick because I know I celebrated my birthday last Friday. It was awesome. Shout out to both you and Steve, the dynamic duo. Randy says he can't make it this year, but we'll watch on Kart Chaser. But you guys both just celebrated birthdays, right? Yeah,
our birthdays are one day apart. Yours, I didn't realize until this year, I think, is the day after mine.
I'm the 15th.
You're the 15th. Okay, you're the 15th. I'm the 16th. Steve's the 17th.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
Yeah, well,
it explains a lot with you three.
That's it. It does. That's it, baby. Virgos.
This will explain to you what my Septembers are like, because obviously September's get ready for Grands, but we've got Rock Island, which is a big part of my family. So that's what starts September out every year. And oh yeah, September 1st is my wife's birthday every year. So we have to do that with her birthday. 7 days later is our anniversary. 8 days later is my birthday. And then it's Grands is 2 weeks later.
Wow, that is big.
Yeah, that's why I'm probably always a little more stressed than I need to be. But you know what? It's worth it. We've really got a good group of racers that follow us. It's cool at this event that we have a lot of people from other people, people that aren't technically our racers that don't race with us maybe more than once or twice a year, that come out and experience what this type of event is like. And it is a unique deal, and it's really cool.
Steve just reset the bar, by the way.
Of course he did.
600? 600?
Steve, you're full of it. You have no idea what you're talking about.
Wow, he proved us all wrong, that's for sure. So there you go. We're essentially wrapped and ready to go. You've got another, 6 days, I guess, so you head out. I don't know. Congratulations. I guess that's all I can say right now. Amazing.
No, thank you. I mean, honestly, without the staff and all that kind of stuff, but the support of the karting community. I mean, it is mind-blowing that we have this many people coming from all over the country, the continent, now the world. It's truly, truly, truly impressive just to see the amount of support that we get for this.
And can we just say how good this is for the sport as well? This is bringing people together. On any given weekend, there's 10,000 racers, whatever, or more, 10 to 15,000 karters all around the country that are racing away. Dirt, asphalt, road racing, whatever it may be, sprint, right? But this is when you bring people together, like the Supernats has done for 20-something years, that when you bring people together, 206 guys together, I just think it's huge for the sport. It's like that big, huge gathering of everybody who loves four-cycle karting.
Well, and it's, fun. I know we're almost out of time, but one of the funny stories that...
Never out of time.
So this shows you how much I always have my blinders on. I had no idea until last year that this chili cook-off that everyone's always talking about happens at Grand Nationals. I had no idea. So we're going to try to play that up a little bit more this year. I got to get back with those guys to make sure we get that stuff handled. But, but the point I'm making is a lot of my friends I have through karting and stuff like that are beyond my local area are guys that I met at Rock, because that was always my big event. That was my one big event of the year. And those are guys that have become friends for life that I talk to about. I have most of them I don't even talk about racing to anymore. That is what we're starting to build with this. And it's really, really cool that people are making lifelong friends and relationships, racing or not. But it's really becoming a community event. And that's a really neat deal to see.
And you reconvene at the Grand Nationals every year. You could be from California, from Canada, from wherever, Florida, and you end up reconvening at the Grand Nationals, which is amazing. David, anything for you to wrap up?
Are you cooking chili? I mean, do you got time?
Crank over to can of Stags.
Yeah.
No, we'll try to find. I honestly would like to try to find time to swing over there. I don't want to be one of the judges or anything like that, but I would love to go over there and just to honestly even see it. Some of the stories I've heard about some of the stuff that happens in the pits at Grands, sounds like I've missed quite a few really good parties. So.
It's very similar to Rock Island, just at 4 times the size.
That's actually a little nerve-wracking.
and there's no old-time tap.
There is no old-time tap.
There is no old-time tap. Well, I'm sure Mike Adams would set you up for you.
Oh, yeah. Good point. That's a good point.
Very true. All right, well, Greg, listen, we're going to let you get out of here. We thank you for taking 46-plus minutes out of your time. Listen, man, we're super excited to see you again as we get to Newcastle next week. 7th running of the Grand Nationals, 480. What now, David? Where are we at?
482 this morning.
482 this morning. We're going to blast by 500. Hold on. I saw it up here somewhere.
Oh, yeah. Did you see that? I forgot to mention that.
What's that?
Megan Olds thinks 512.
Oh,
Steve, as we said, 600 proved me wrong. I don't know if it's going to be this year, but that's pretty impressive.
So go down and look at the second to last comment.
What do we got? Cheese Balls the movie?
No, I'm sorry. One more up.
Or you mean the bachelor party?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So Michael Welsh is getting married the week after Grands. He thought he was going to have to skip the race.
Okay.
They talked. I don't even want to say they talked his wife into it because I don't know the circumstances. But
I helped.
They are having their bachelor party at Grand Nationals.
Yep.
Yes.
So I mean, that has to be a first for karting, right? Have we ever had a bachelor party at a race?
Not at this level. No.
Well, what do you call it? Remember the guys out in California at Lancaster came together with their tuxedo suits?
Yes, they had tuxedo suits. That was pretty good with
Lewis.
Ethan Wilson, John Lewis, Jimmy the Kid. Yep.
Yeah.
That was pretty good. But yeah, this one will take it to another level.
100%. 100%. Pete says, "Come to the race. I can marry them. I'm ordained." So am I. I've got.
He is.
You're ordained.
Yeah, I married Gabby Chavez and his wife, Gabby.
Oh,
yes, I've done a couple.
Didn't you do Wheeler? No, you didn't do Wheelers.
Yeah, I did Chris Wheeler's wedding too.
Chris Wheeler as well too. Yeah. They ironically, both of them were in Indianapolis.
They were both in Indianapolis, indeed. Yeah.
So
you didn't
there
say
you go.
All right.
booking as part of the thing, did you?
They told me I had to say booking. As part of the thing. It was written in the script. It was fantastic, by the way. Here's a good parting, and this is the best way to end it. Steve Vermeer says this is going to be epic.
Yes,
for sure, 100%. We'd have Steve Vermeer on the show, but that would never happen.
Actually,
Whoa.
We'll leave it that. I've set the stage with Steve. We'll have to probably plan out a little bit better than we usually do with our whole 10 minutes before.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
I'm going to go over to his house. We'll set up a second computer. He has agreed to do one of these.
Yes, I love it. That's great news. Well, there you go, folks. We're done. Greg, thanks again so much, man. We appreciate it. Can't get to get down there. This is going to be a fantastic event. 500 and something for sure. Again, we thank you for taking the time to talk to us, man. Appreciate it.
No, absolutely. I appreciate you guys having me on, and we'll see you in, I guess, 6 days.
6 days. 6 days. 6 days. All right, folks. There he is, Greg Jasperson. David, this is going to be crazy, man. I love hearing it from the horse's mouth, right? All the stuff that goes in the background, everything that happens, all the work that gets done, the 2:30 in the mornings, the 5 o'clock in the mornings, a full 20-foot trailer to bring the trophies or more custom trophies to the event for the divisional award celebrations. It's just crazy. It's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, well, that adds on. He added a 4th divisional, so that adds to the amount of work that goes in because he wants to make it a personal touch. He doesn't want to just here you go.
Yep.
So that when you're more personal that way, it takes more time and effort. So obviously, it takes a lot more time to do that, especially at the biggest event of the year that you're hosting. So a lot goes into it, but I think it's always appreciated by all the racers and the families, and of course the sponsors, all their help that they provide, and of course, like he said, all the staff that does what they do. And I mean, yeah, we're crazy to think it's just next week. That,
I know. And so a big shout out to everybody that makes this thing happen. All of us roll in there in the morning. We work on our carts. We get out for practice and warm up. We go racing. And it's just, there's so many people. Every lap around the racetrack, folks, give a wave to the corner worker who's out there all day long, right? Making sure you're safe, making people around you are safe. The tech people that take nothing but crap and BS the entire weekend.
Registration.
Just trying to make sure everybody's on the same level playing field. People, the registration, lining everybody up. You name it, you got it. That's what this race is all about. Going to be a big one, of course, for Briggs racers. David Cole versus Rob Howden. Finally going to get that going again. This could be the first time ever that David beats me in anything ever. So we'll see if it happens this year.
I could beat you in basketball. We're talking
about motorsports.
Hey, motorsports, yeah. It's it's been since the first time we were there, 2019, that we raced each other. Again at this racetrack and in this event. So you're 55 now, so the odds are in my favor. I mean, it certainly helps.
Every year they're getting more into your favor, David, 100%.
Yeah, so the LSR crew and CRG Nordam, we're ready to go. We've done some testing. You haven't done any testing. No, I'm not knocking your team. Your team's a great team, Coyote and Brandon and Eddie and John, all of them. You're going to be tough to beat, but you're old. So I don't care how much you've been working out. You're old.
You should care how much I've been working out. This is going to be fun. And we'll cap it off with one last thing because we didn't really bring him up during the show. When it comes to CKNA, got to bring up Dave Mack. Dave McIntyre, obviously the voice of Cup Karts North America. Good to have him and his energy back on the PA. It's going to be a lot of fun. He's working with Tony Cirillo as well on the Kart Chaser broadcast. So it's going to be a ton of fun, folks. Again, watch for the hashtag all weekend long. Hashtag Beat David Cole. And we will be enjoying ourselves.
Hashtag Beat Rob Howden. Hashtag Beat Rob Howden. I know it's not as popular. Again, but I have way too many enemies. Huge shout out to Greg Jasperson for coming to join us. All those you tuning in, thank you so much. Do us a favor. When you're done here, share this out. Let's get a bunch of people to see it, whether the live link on Facebook, whatever it may be. Give that a share. Hey, if you missed this, check it out. This is all about this great races coming up next week. So again, that wraps things up, folks. On behalf of David Cole, my name is Rob Howden. Bye for now.